Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. First of all, let's look at this thing here very carefully. Chicks who tend to be hot, they tend to be related to great martial artists to some degree. That doesn't mean that they're noble or they're great martial artists. It has to do with how bodies are formed over thousands of years. Who, when, where, how, why. Okay, so the Revenge of the Nerds, the Panty Raid, and they like chicks who are shaped more like a martial art female. If that's not enough for you, let's look at this thing here. What type of people watch Bruce Lee movies, conspiracy theory movies, kind of thing, purge movies, martial art movies, right? Bruce Lee movies, right? So when it comes together, right, is Bruce Lee similar to Jet Li? Yes. Do Hollywood people like these occult jigsaw puzzle games? Is there a Riddler character? Is there a jigsaw character? Right? Bruce Lee, Game of Death. I've had occultists flat out tell me that this is the case. People in the government know there's people like Jordan Maxwell who are telling you there's a bunch of occultists everywhere who have hidden messages. Okay? Now he might not be, he's not the most reliable source. But when you look into it for yourself and you look at the countless witches and occultists out there, and many of them have told me flat out, some work for the government, they're occultists, and they've told me flat out. So as I was saying, people told me flat out that these things are connected. People who work for the government, people who are very much into understanding these things, people who are analysts, people who have a lot of years of experience in things related to law enforcement and psychological operations. And they said, yes, it's a basic part of law enforcement for people to understand the occult to a certain degree, right? We see with the prison gangs, we see with the Chicago gangs, it's in so many places, biker gangs, what have you. And you see over here where we have Lois Lane saying, I love you, Superman. Is he really the best I can get? After Superman says, I love you, Lois, right? So he says, I love you, Lois. She says, I love you, Superman, and thinks to herself, is he really the best I can get? And he, of course, he looks like Hades. He looks like Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat. It looks like an old video game character, Fist of the North Star, and the main character from the Spartacus TV series back in the day, Blood and Sand. So now we see the various sites have been saying that, yes, Superman is superimposed on Horus. Okay, pause it if you have to. I'm running out of space on my phone here. And we see here, obviously, part of Satanism is controlling women and using them against people. And notice that female looks like Lois there. Okay, it's not a coincidence. They do things in a way that people make subconscious connections, and they, bring these things to people's attention to mess with their heads for various reasons. So again, going back to here where it says they live, it's about a bunch of people who aren't who they seem to be, and this white gentleman teams up with a black gentleman, and he tries to, take them on and to solve the problem. And so that's what they look like inside, right? People aren't quite who they seem to be. They're like demons inside, and they're purging you. The game of death, is it connected to the purge? Yes. Is Superman connected? Is Superman superimposed on Horus? Yes, he flies through the heavens. It's a mockery, like the fake images of Christ are mockeries, and so on and so forth. In the game of death here, you have this English-looking guy, right? Very suspicious English-looking guy. Those are some of the most influential people out there from my research, are these suspicious English gentlemen of various ages. Okay, and of course these guys, the Anglo kind of culture is there subtly, Jewish culture, what have you. So you see white Jew, and there's kind of an LGBT mockery spirit. Now, if you think that I'm mistaken, you need to get your head checked. I know they try to make it so I sound arrogant in this way and that. Keep in mind, they change my voice, they change my speech patterns, they do funny things, they mess with the mic. I'm right about these things, okay? The Game of Death, the Wu-Tang album, right? They're on a chessboard or something, okay? It's similar to the checkered floor of Freemasonry. It's a game of death of sorts. They're cutting off each other's heads with different weapons and different advanced Shaolin weapons, and they've been remixed to suit kind of a black African-American hip-hop theme, right? Liquid swords, okay? Wu-Tang Clan, right? They're a cult, a clan. If you think these things aren't connected, you're insane, okay? Yes, these things are connected. And I don't want to start getting worked up here, but you can imagine it gets frustrating at times. I don't get angry very often. Well, I do and I don't, because they fume me and they suppress. I used to be angry so much, so often. Okay, these things are connected. Okay, the game of death, they live, the purge, Romeo must die. Okay, some of my pictures look like I could be little Romeo Master P's son when he grew older. Okay, but I do not look like Little Romeo. He looks kind of gayish. I don't. I'm a lot more masculine than he is. Okay, I'm not trying to insult him. I grew up, listening to Master P. I bought The Last Dawn and so on and so forth. C Murder, his little brother, was my favorite rapper growing up, right there with Tupac. A lot of times I would say C Murder, not Tupac. Okay, but it's very clear, and I know I felt sad when his daughter died.